UCC. Okay, just UCC stands for Uniform Commercial Code. It's the international Bible for doing commerce. Okay, all corporations, all countries in the world subscribe. Well, it starts with the country, and then the corporations that those countries govern under their laws are controlled at the very top by the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code.
You wrote it.
The gods. Yeah, it goes back. I don't know. It's just regurgitation of laws. Oh yeah. It was last night. Did I show it? I don't know. It's volumes of UCC documents. Oh yeah. It's a spectacular document to read because you'll see how deep the control goes. It is ridiculous when you read it. It is insane. It couldn't have taken a few years to write it. This goes back thousands and thousands of years of ongoing regurgitating control. So the UCC controls this now. You might have heard of the OPPT, One People's Public Trust. It was launched in November 2012 by Heather Tucci and two of her colleagues whose names I forget right now. They basically, what they did, they used the commercial code laws under the Uniform Commercial Code. They drew up the necessary documents. They established a trust called the One People's Public Trust, of which every living, breathing human being is automatically a beneficiary because you're alive, blood and soul individual. So you're automatically a member of that.
So they co-opted us into their corporation?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a trust. It's not a corporation. I think there are a lot of detractors from that. Everything I've seen so far, I'll leave it up to you. I'm just going to tell you what they did, and you must go and do your own research. What they did is they filed papers on the head office of the UCC in Washington, basically declaring all the corporations of the world defunct and what's it called? Bankrupt, foreclosed, because they've exploited and defrauded humanity and blah blah. Go and look at it. I think it's really quite interesting. Obviously, the corporations are not going to acknowledge that. They're just going to try and ignore it for as long as possible. But the more people start using this, because there is a real trust that's been formed called the One People's Public Trust. I don't think it's a corporation, right? It's a trust, so that's different from a corporation. It's built so that it's outside of the UCC formalities. So they use the UCC legal structure to foreclose on itself, notified them. So officially, every country corporate in the world is foreclosed upon. All major corporations, any corporation that operates under those country corporations are foreclosed upon. And each and every one of us is potentially free to do what we want. Now we need to start using that. But that's an interesting challenge. I know Anthea Tor in Noordhoek has been using it a little bit to her detriment, but she's a warrior. It always takes the first person to be bold enough and brave enough to stand up and do that. It takes balls, really. So not everyone can do that. Neil.
The crux of that, as I understand it, is that if you are sued by a bank in terms of an outstanding bond or an outstanding debt,
yes,
you go onto that website, you can get a letter that they have prepared for you. You fill your details and you give that to your bank, and apparently your bank will go away.
That's what should happen. That's what should happen. But obviously the banks are just denying it, and they just pretend they don't know what's going on. They pretend that you're cuckoo. But what I can tell you, however, let's get back to and then we need to finish here because it's 3:15 already. So under the current South African legislation, under the Bank Act, under the Bills of Exchange Act specifically, and the High Court rules, there are various ways that you can create your own money. First of all, I started telling you that the banks work with promissory notes and bills of exchange, and they refer to it on our side as money. Right? Well, money is not even... Do you know that there's no definition for the word money in the Bank Act? How bizarre is that? But there's a whole act on the bills of exchange that doesn't mention money. It talks about promissory notes, bills of exchange, and liquid negotiable instruments. So that's what banks work with. So any piece of paper that has got a number on it, your name on it, the bank's, the institution name on it, actually is a bill of exchange, is a negotiable instrument that can be negotiated on. If you accept it for value, it's like we accept the bills, what are they called, a 100 Rand bill. It's a bill. It's got the signature of the reserve of the governor, the governor of the Reserve Bank, and now supposed to have some value. Well, we use this to exchange stuff, and we think this is money, and we all believe it because we're so completely dumbed down. What really should happen is that it should say, I promise to pay you something. And it doesn't do that. The gold is not linked to any money, fiat currency. So, if you receive a bill from somebody, it's already a bill. And now you need to turn it into a bill of exchange. So there's a method of doing this, and I've just, on my trip to England, I've seen that this works. So it's no longer just a fictitious thing that we could do. I've now seen it work in action. You accept the bill for value. It says you owe us 1,000 rand. You say, thank you. You write on it, accept it for value. I return this liquid negotiable, now valuable liquid negotiable instrument for full and final settlement. Adjust balance to 0. Notify the Treasury. Something to that extent. Because ultimately the Treasury is in charge of your estate, of the account number and the trust that's linked to your ID number and your birth certificate, and they control all the money that's attached to you as a valuable item that the country deals with. So that's one way of dealing with things. I know a person, I'm not going to mention him because we're filming this in England, that did this, and he's quite high up. He's actually in the police force, believe it or not. Yeah, he settled his electricity bill with the municipality and a parking fine in the following way. Accepted for value, sent it back, account was balanced. So I now know that it does work and it has happened.
I'm missing the link here. Sorry for my ignorance, but
okay.
Catching this.
No, of course not. It's not easy. Remember, they're sending you a bill.
Okay, or an invoice. Or an invoice, or is it just for bills with banks? I mean, are you talking specifically about cars and houses?
Yes.
So things that I deal with directly.
Let me go through this again. We're getting tired now. We're getting tired now. So, this is just 3 more minutes and we get out of here. No, you can go if you need to go. Remember, they're sending you a bill. It's all about bills of exchange.
From the bank, though.
From the bank. Yeah.
For payment.
From the bank.
Demand for payment.
From the bank. Or anyone, actually, but please don't do this to other people. Only do it to banks, because banks will work with bills of exchange. Okay, only banks. So this is my advice to people. Don't get clever. Use it with those people that work with us, those that are defrauding us and destroying our lives. Let's use the same tools that they use against us, against them. Now all we need to do is get the judges to understand this. Now I've got an interesting situation. I mentioned that last. You take that bill. You say, thank you very much, I got your bill. I accept it for its value, because there is no money. Remember the money that we use is a promissory note. It's a promise to pay. So they're sending you a bill and they're asking you to pay it with what? With other pieces that say promise to pay. Well, when are you eventually going to pay? You're just sending them more little pieces of money that are promises to pay. So you never actually pay for anything, because there is no real money. So the promise to pay just keeps going around and around. The only way you stop this is by doing what I'm suggesting. By accepting their bill for value, signing it, making it a real liquid negotiable instrument, so it has the value that's encoded in there, whether it's R1 million that they send you a bill for, accept it for value, and I return it to you in full and final settlement. Notify the Treasury, adjust balance to 0. I know it sounds weird, people. It sounds really weird. You need to wrap your heads around this. Okay. Yeah, it's a bill. You've turned it into a bill of exchange, a liquid negotiable instrument. Your signature, remember, your account, your Treasury account, your trust account against your name is the valuable thing. So everything it's just computer entries and debits. That's all it is.
They're effectively getting their money they're giving their value from the Treasury.
Yes, and you giving them back from your Treasury account, your trust account against your name. You're allowing them to debit that account and adjust the balance.
Your Treasury account is infinite.
It's limited. Exactly. It's because you're a living, breathing human being. You have infinite potential while you're alive. Understand? Okay. So now there's another level. When the sheriff comes to your house, and this is happening to thousands of people every day, the sheriff is there on a civil matter, not a criminal matter. Okay, so he cannot use the police to force his way onto your property. Okay, so know this. Please go onto my website, onto the Ubuntu website, and read how to deal with a sheriff. It's like 35 points. How to stand your ground, how to know what to say, how to stop him at the gate, how to know what his rights are and what your rights are. Spectacular. We just need to know that we are in charge. Okay? And what you can do, the High Court rules talk about that you can pay the sheriff of the court with what's referred to as incorporeal property. Which is promissory notes and bills of exchange.
How do you spell that?
That's Rule 8AC of the High Court rules. So, guess what? What is a promissory note? You make your own promissory note. I've got an example of the promissory note on the website as well. Check it out. You're not committing fraud. You're not counterfeiting money. You're creating your own promissory note. You're putting your value in it. Say, I promise to pay Standard Bank of South Africa 100 million rand. And I promise to pay it. But because, you see, this is the little trick. So we've made it very safe. We've used all the possible exceptions that could be used against you by the lawyers and the judges because they're just ignorant about this. So we've put things in there to protect you against an exception by them. Because once they've accepted your payment, it's over. Okay? You've paid them. They have 3 days to petition it with a petition. They need to launch a petition. If they don't, it should be settled. Now you have a case against them, against fraud. Because they haven't, you've paid them and they haven't settled your account. And that is why I've now opened a case of theft of R1 million against Standard Bank. I paid them with a bill of exchange. They kept it. They didn't settle my account. They sued me. They sold my house. They stole it from me. They never returned my bill. In the court case against them, it came up. The judge still said, I said to the judge, they stole my money. I paid them with a bill of exchange. They kept it. They didn't refute it. They didn't credit my account. And now they're suing me. They stole my money. I want my bill back. And the judge said, well, where's the bill? And they said, well, it's not here. And then the judge said, well, then we can't talk about it. I said, good. At least now we have it. They've still got my bill. They've kept it. I don't care what they did with it. I want my R1 million back. So I've opened a case of theft against Standard Bank.
Well done.
I don't know where this is going to go.